Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Asad Yaqub, and in this video I'm going to tell you about Ielts speaking test pattern and what happens in Ielts speaking test and all that. Well guys, the test duration or Ielts speaking test duration is 11 to 13 minutes. Okay, and there are 3 sections, and by the way, speaking test may be conducted face to face with an examiner, or it can be on a digital video link. It depends actually. Okay, sometimes due to COVID they arrange your speaking test on a digital link. There is a screen and all that, and otherwise if there is no threat in the areas where there is no COVID threat, then they have face to face. But even if it is face to face, you must wear the mask and all that. Okay, your speaking test starts with the general questions examiner asks you. Before speaking test, examiner will ask you your name and your identity and all that stuff, and then examiner is going to start the speaking test with your name, candidate number and all that. The most important question which is asked in IELTS speaking, that is first question, which examiner will always ask you, and that first question is, do you work or study? Now, if you're a professional, you are going to talk about your profession, and in 2 to 3 sentences you have to answer this question. Don't try to prolong this answer, because examiner wants to categorize you, whether you are a student or you are a professional or you are a homemaker or stay-at-home lady, right? Usually you call it housewife, but housewife is not appropriate word. It should be homemaker, stay-at-home lady and all that. Okay, so at this point you need to give short answer. After this, examiner is going to decide what sort of questions are appropriate for this candidate, and then examiner will ask you appropriate questions. In speaking part 1, examiner will ask you 5 to 10 questions. Now why 5 to 10 questions? Because it depends on your answer. If your answer is reasonable, the length of your answer is reasonable as per IELTS examiner expectation, they will ask you 5 to 8 questions, and sometimes they may ask you 10 to 15 questions as well if your answers are really short. Now what are these questions? They use the word, these questions are always on familiar topics. These familiar topics are the topics you are quite familiar: your family, your friends, your favorite color, your shopping habits, your favorite shopping mall, your hometown, the clothes you wear, okay, your relatives and all that. So they are going to ask you 5 to 10 questions on familiar topics. Now basically how to answer these questions: number 1, remember, these questions are 1 sentence questions, like what is your favorite color, what do you usually do in your free time, how often do you go out with your friends, do you, and anything like that. So it's going to be all 1 sentence question, and you need to understand mainly they will ask you questions in 3 tenses. First of all, most importantly and most commonly, it's the present tense. Second, it's the past tense. Third, it's the future tense. Fourth, it's present perfect tense. So they are going to ask you questions in these 3 to 4 tenses mainly, and present perfect continuous tense as well. Now how to answer? You can answer in 3 parts. Part 1, answer the question directly. How often do you go for shopping? I go for shopping every month. How often do you invite your friends to your house? I invite my friends to my house every weekend. So answer the question directly. Step number 2, elaborate your answer. Either you can give details or you can give reasons for your answer. Okay, now there should be 3 to 4 sentences to elaborate your answer. Let me tell you the type of answers which irritate the examiner. Number 1, yes no answers irritate the examiner a lot. Do you go out at the weekends? Yes. Do you watch TV? No. Okay, these type of questions literally irritate the examiner. On the other hand, the answers where you just repeat the question from interrogative to positive, these questions also irritate the examiner. For example, the question is, do you go outside on the weekend? Yes, I go outside on the weekend. Do you watch TV every night? Yes, I watch TV every night. Okay, so this sort of parroting is not going to get you good bench score. Try to use a variety of words, synonyms, the words examiner used in the question. Try to use synonyms of those words. It's going to be fine. What's your favorite color? I'm always fascinated by black color. Or I've always been attracted by black color. So see that, what's your favorite color? One way is, my favorite color is black. I like this color. This is my favorite color. So these type of answers are going to give you low bench score. So this is all about speaking part 1. Okay, you can practice and make yourself familiar. Cambridge IELTS books 1 to 16 contain very good questions which are ideal for speaking part 1. Now let's talk about speaking part 2. In speaking part 2, examiner will give you a topic which is called cue card. Okay, and this cue card is always a description. They use 2 type of sentences for that: describe and talk about. For example, describe a book you once read and you liked. Talk about a person who spends time with you. Talk about a TV program you often watch. Describe a TV program you often watch. So this main topic should be covered. After that, they give you 3 to 4 bullet points. Now, if you want to cover those bullet points, well and good, but otherwise you can cover the main topic and you can get good bench score. And remember, in speaking part 2, you have to speak for minimum 1 minute, maximum 2 minutes. But remember, I would advise, because you will not have any watch or any means of knowing the time or any timer. So it's a good idea in speaking part 2. Coordinate good eye contact with the examiner, and when examiner stops you in speaking part 2, then you should summarize your ideas and finish it. Otherwise, just go on and on and on. Okay? So in speaking part 2, first of all, you need to identify your topic. Is it in present, past or future? Secondly, you need to see what are the subtopics. And then you have to make an outline. And by the way, don't read all the topic. Just read the description. For example, describe a TV program you often watch. And you should write there Hard Talk. Hard Talk is a famous BBC program. Okay? You should say, and then, so create an outline, and this outline is more like bullet points, because you just have to look at the time of speaking. Cue card is going to be on the table, your notes are going to be on the table, so you can either take a look at the cue card or you can take a look at your notes. There is no problem, but do not stop to read. As I'm talking to you and I'm looking at my next point, and then I go on with my next point. Again, I'm talking to you, I'm looking at my next point, and I go on with my next point. So speak like this and make very good outline so that you take a look at the point. The point should be self-explanatory. It should give you enough reason to speak. After this, we have speaking part 3. In speaking part 3, they will always ask you follow-up questions, and these questions are always related to your cue card. That is speaking part 2. If in cue card, in speaking part 2, they give you a topic about cooking or describe a type of food that you like, in part 3, they will talk about eating habits of the people, cooking and all that stuff. In part 3, 3 to 4 type of questions are extremely important. Number 1, opinion-based questions. Do you think? Do you believe? According to you? So when you give your opinion, you should know some structures to express your opinion. Number 2, advantages or disadvantages. What are the benefits of going to a foreign country? What are the drawbacks of living in a rented house? Questions like that. Number 3, after this, prediction. They will ask you to predict about future. What will happen after 10 years, 15? Actually, by asking you these type of questions, they check your sentence structure. They see whether you are familiar with these type of sentence structures or not. And that is for bench score 7, 8, 9. Let me tell you speaking part 1, band score 1, 2, 3. Speaking part 2, band score 4, 5, 6. And speaking part 3, band score 7, 8, 9. And then there is the average and they give you your average score. So the fourth type of questions is what we call comparison. They will ask you to compare two things. One thing from the past, one thing from the present, or two things, one from present, one from future, or two things from present, and there they want to see your comparative structures, your comparative sentences. So please prepare at least a couple of sentences, couple of comparative structures, couple of predictive structures and all that, so that you answer comfortably in IELTS speaking part 3. In part 3, if your answers are short, or if examiner is not sure whether examiner should give you 6 or 7, 6.5 or 7, then they might ask you more questions, and sometimes they may ask you questions which are not even related to the cue card in order to make sure that you deserve a certain bench score. So guys, thank you very much. All the best. I also teach IELTS online all over the world and on campus here in Lahore. If you wish to be the part of my online or on-campus IELTS classes, my WhatsApp number is given. You can contact me for that. Asad Yaqub truly wishes you best of luck. Take care. Allah Hafiz. And I want to show you this beautiful course. Yeah, we've got a wonderful and beautiful course, golf course, and I want you to see that. All the best, take care, Allah Hafiz.